Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I got a very special video for you all. Today we're going to be talking about Mikasa. Now Mikasa is one of the most controversial characters in the show because well, point blank, I know a lot of ending defenders are scared to say this. I don't know why they're scared to say this, but because Mikasa did not get any character development at all for most of the, well, not at all, but she had some character development, but mostly she had no character development for most of the show, which I'm completely fine with. And I accidentally shot 2 videos about that, so you can go check out why Mikasa is a well-written character. You can also check out Ymir's love affair, good plot choice. So you can go check out those 2 videos to see my perspective as to why I don't see it as a problem. I think that, or that, actually, no, I don't think it's a problem. The ending defenders also very weak. No, why it would create a plot hole. Why it would be a plot hole had Mikasa got in character development like you wanted to prior. So yeah, so those are the videos I want to watch. But today I have a very special video for you. We're going to be talking about how/why Mikasa got over Eren, and big shout out to Cal Entertainment. He's a wonderful guy. Don't agree with him on everything, but I do agree with him a lot, and it's very nice to see a person who actually understands the story. Funny enough, we don't actually just call people, we don't actually just say you don't understand the story to just every Tom, Dick, and Harry just because they disagree with us. We say people don't understand the story when they actually don't understand the story. And Cal Entertainment understands the story, and we don't agree on everything, but that's fine because they actually understand the story. But let's talk about Mikasa. So, one of the biggest things about Mikasa is that she's constantly, her entire life's purpose is Eren, which of course is bad because she should have her, her own will. But her entire life's purpose is about Eren. She's always about Eren. Eren this, Eren that. In fact, it even gets mimified because she for some inexplicably, she only refers to call him exclusively as Eren and not Eren. So, got the whole E-R-E-H, Era. So that's been she's been mocked and ridiculed, and rightfully so. She's been constantly getting people killed because of her love for Eren. Like this is that now ballooned into nonsense. So we have to ask ourselves, how/why did she get over him? Now, number one, I want you guys to make sure you guys have this quote in the back of your mind throughout this entire video. Okay, now it is said by Isayama himself that Mikasa loved Eren a little and Eren loved Mikasa a lot. Now that quote rings very, very true, and in its entire, pretty much, it's really good context for this entire video. Now, when she gets to the Battle of Heaven and Earth, and she goes to kill him, a couple things are going on. Number one, Eren is sacrificing everything, including himself, for her, and Armin and Connie and Annie and Reiner, but and Parody. I get in trouble with the Jaegers because they keep saying, oh, they think that I don't think that Eren cares about Parody. But yeah, but he's mainly thinking about Mikasa, and Parody is below that priority list. If I were to make a priority list about what he cares about the most, I would say Mikasa, everyone else, and then Parody, and then his own freedom, which might also be tied with number one. Again, you can also watch my Is Eren Free video if you want my explanation on Eren's freedom. You can also watch my Eren's goals video if you want to know about my, more about Eren's goals and his priorities and whatnot. But enough of the self-promotion. We're going to continue talking about Mikasa. So when I bring this up to say that Eren was sacrificing everything for her because he loves her a lot, so he's willing to sacrifice the entire world and himself save Mikasa, and by proxy Armin and Parody and whatnot. Mikasa is not willing to do that. Mikasa 100% loves Eren, yes, but she does not love him enough to sacrifice her life for him, or people's life. Well, maybe her life, but other people's lives for him. She does not love him that much, which is why she ends up killing him in the first place. But while, again, I think this is actually a better written character, you guys think, because while she does still love him less than Eren loves her, which I also think is appropriate, and just as far as the, story, this is as a general principle. While that's happening, she's still very, very sad about killing him. Sort of, kind of like Annie in a way. Like, she was sad and upset about having to kill innocent people and all that stuff, but she would still do it again if she had to. Same thing with Mikasa, right? Yes, she was sad. Yes, she was upset. But would she do it all over again? Absolutely. Another theory I have about Mikasa is the 138, right? Which, I mean, you guys don't know what happened in 138, but my theory specifically is that, and I still to this day don't know how she was able to go to the paths at all. I mean, I don't know how that happened. But, I mean, in Levite too, I don't know how any of that happened. But ignoring that, I'm sure there's an answer out there somewhere, but ignoring that, she was brought into the paths because she couldn't do it, right? She was at the precipice, she was going to kill him, but she just couldn't because, again, and she was also thinking about her very last conversation together, and she was having a hard time finding a way to kill him, and then conveniently, she gets to have her cake and eat it too, or eat her cake and have it too. She got to eat her cake and have it too, because pretty much he made her decision irrelevant because they got to live the last 4 years together. As per what would have happened if she would have just confessed her love for him in the internment camp, right, or the refugee camp. You know what I'm talking about. If she would have done that, then they would have gone to the woods for 4 years, and they would have been all happy-go-lucky, whatever. Which, again, that's the other thing I would like to say, just as a quick divergence from my original point. Eren obviously does not care about parody the most, because if he cared about parody the most, why would Mikasa say that I love you? Why would that all of a sudden make it so that he would go and knowingly let parody be destroyed? So, sorry, he does not. Parody is 100% not his first priority at all. But ignoring that tangent, so she gets to have a much nicer conversation with him, and she also gets to live out the 4 years. It's not real, but it's still 4 years, it feels like to her, of living with him. So she gets to eat her cake and have it too, because she gets to kill Eren and save the world, but she also gets to have that 4 years that she would have had she not killed him. So after she gets this, then she gets the strength to kill him. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, because in chapter 138, Eren said something very interesting. He said, "Forget about me. Throw that scarf away and forget about me." Which, is an interesting line. Now, some people might have liked that he told Dagasa to forget about him. I put Dagasa in air quotes. If you guys didn't see, I have my hands down, but yes, I don't condone that. But you guys might have been happy about that. Some people might have been happy about that. Some people might have been a little bit confused. Some people might have been sad, so on and so forth. But this line, obviously, unless you agree with the whole Dagasa stuff, was a mistake. It was obviously not what she needed to hear at the time, because there was no way that she could possibly, just forget about him. That'd be ridiculous. Not only would that create a massive plot hole, there's the obvious that, I mean, you cannot just forget about something that you loved for all this time, right? He's been with her since the beginning. How could she possibly just forget about him? But he tells her to do that anyway. And my theory, again, people have different ideas as to why he tells her this. My idea is simply that he is a selfish person, right? And we see this personified as him being a child. That's another one of my theories. And we also see this in the song at the very end of the song, which is that song, Child of Evil, is a very beautiful song, but that song has an extremely eerie ending. For those of you who've only seen the the anime version, where it plays at the end of the episodes, you might have been confused as to why the song is called Child of Evil, because it's all just sunset and rainbows and love and all that stuff. But funny enough, inside, inside, at the end of the song, because the song that what you actually hear is actually part of the chorus. You know, when he's in the field of flowers, that's actually the chorus. And at the end of the song, it says, "Inside of justice, instead of sacrifice, I feel a child of evil. There's a child of evil," which is really strange, and really creepy for a very sweet song like that. It's a very creepy ending. But basically, my interpretation of that, and we know Isayama puts plot points in songs after Bird of the Sunset. So don't try to tell me this isn't canon or this isn't really to the plot or blah 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 blah. Listen, I'm using the manga and I'm using the song, which we know to be used for plot devices. Okay, so please. But and also another really cool thing is that Crimson Bow and Arrow. They actually mention, Eren taking up the dark sword or some ominous thing like that, which I feel is foreshadowing the rumbling, since the sword is portrayed sort of in a bad way, like he's going to do something evil, but they're killing Titans, so how could he be doing evil by killing Titans? And then it's like, oh, it's the rumbling, but that's just a cool thing. But as far as that goes, he is the selfish person, and he does not want that child of evil to, get in the way of Mikasa's happiness, because as we know, simp Eren, no, I don't want that. I want her to be hung up on me for at least 10 years, right? That was, of course, an incredibly selfish thing to say, and it would not benefit Mikasa at all. It's a very, very horrible thing for her. Of course, he said that after being, pressured by Armin, because he initially was trying to hide his feelings, right? But enough was enough. He got back into a corner. Armin was pressing him. Emotions were high, and then finally he blurted it out, right? And then he says, "Please don't tell Mikasa that." I like to think that somehow one Thanksgiving it got brought up, but that's for the fanfic. That's where fanfiction actually should come in. That you can do whatever you want with that, but don't rewrite the ending. That's despicable. He's being selfish in this moment and self-serving, because this is not the best thing for Mikasa. This does not make Mikasa free. He doesn't want her to be hung up on me for 10 years. Obviously, that's unhealthy. I mean, I didn't explain why that's bad, right? And then he says, don't tell her that, because I don't want her to be hurt by that, and he doesn't want to damage his own image, or maybe, a mix of the two, or one side or the other, whatever. Those two reasons why. And that's how he truly feels. But when he goes, and this is happening in 131. Chronologically, this is happening in 131, right? But then when he goes to Mikasa in 138, which chronologically happens in 138, he tells her, throw that thing away and forget about me, because he does not want any of his selfish intentions to seep through. So he filters it through this extremeness and says, just throw it away, forget me, just be free. Because at the end of the day, he just wants her to be free. He wants her to be happy. He wants the best for her, right? He loves her a lot, because we know why. But I would equate it to someone like, there was an alcoholic that I was talking to, and she was like, I could, walk out the door and someone can offer me alcohol, but I'm not gonna take a sip of it, right? Now, while having alcohol is perfectly fine, since she had a history of being an alcoholic, she does not want to even drink alcohol even a little bit, right? I think Trump is the same way. He had a brother, Fred, I think, and he saw how awful alcohol was for Fred, so he's like, he didn't drink alcohol at all, right? It's an overcompensation, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So he feels, okay, I'm selfish and all this tendency, I'm gonna make sure I overcompensate to make sure that she's free, right? And of course, this is not the best thing for her to hear, and this is not good for her to hear, because that's her guy, right? And she just went out of her way to kill him, and then he's gonna say, forget about that. That's very hurtful. Which is why, and then we see her being hung up about him, because she goes back to the island. She goes back to the island for however long, and she is still weeping and hung up on him. And on she actually inscribed on his gravestone, "Here lies my most beloved." I don't know when that headstone got made, but we know it got made, in between when she got married and when, she defeated him. But, she's sulking, she's weeping, she's all sad about it. And, finally, he continues his promise, which is the promise that he's made to her since the beginning. And this is why I say that it's been foreshadowed since the beginning, because in season 2, the season 2 finale, as we all know, he says, "I'll always wrap a scarf around you," and then, 139, he wraps a scarf around her. I don't know how you're gonna say he changed the ending, but she is still sad, and then he comes and delivers on his promise and wraps a scarf around her, and then after that, she gets married, right? And this is why I've been saying, why would you think it's a good idea to read 139 before it was finished? You knew it was finished, why would you read it? And this is exactly why everyone was yapping about, oh, she didn't get over Eren, oh, she never, blah, 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 the whole story's ruined. Well, yeah, the story's ruined, you didn't let him finish. You didn't let him finish. He said, oh, this is good enough, knowing full well it's supposed to be 8 pages. But, so she wraps the scarf around him, and this frees her, finally, because finally we can complete this very complex character arc, which is not very linear. It's sort of like a business. It's like, flat, then all of a sudden, boom, it just shoots up, and then, it goes on about its way, right? If you look at like stock prices or something, you'll see, it's mostly stable, and then, one thing will happen, they'll get their big break, and then it'll shoot up. What I'm trying to say is that her character arc was pretty stable, but then it shot up, and it was a really good character arc, because Mikasa's character masterfully explains relationships, right? Because with a couple things, because we see, okay, she loved him, but she still did the right thing, or the right thing being to kill him. What she thought was the right thing was to kill him. And on the other hand, we have Eren, who loves Mikasa more than anything, and he says he'll sacrifice anything to protect her, having a really good, deep relationship with another woman, Historia, right? So these are things that are not common in anime, especially. Forget about anime. I don't even like calling it an anime. It's not really an anime, but these are things that are not seen a lot and not explored a lot. Usually, if they're the opposite sex and they have a good relationship, they must be married, right? They must have been in a relationship, but that is completely false. So, but in this version, in this anime, we get to see a person who loves a woman but still has a meaningful relationship with another woman. It's very, very nice. And then, of course, we see how she is sort of like Ymir, right? Like, it was sort of a 2-stage process with her. Like, first in 122 or 121, I keep forgetting the chapter, but is at one point, the chapter I'm talking about, 122, 121. Eren came and told her, that she was the person, and for a couple of reasons, she had an emotional reaction to this. And after that, she was then finally freed when Mikasa killed Eren. So it was sort of like a 2-stage process. Mikasa, same thing. She sort of got the first stage was, her presumably going to the cabin with him and then killing him, but she was still hung up on him, right? So it's very, very complex stuff going on here, because usually, or in a simplistic view would be, oh, okay, she killed him, so she must be over him. But that's not true with human beings, and it's not true here. And so then, she's still moping around and whatever. And finally, Eren comes through and then wraps the scarf around her again, because as much as he or the ending haters would love it to be, you simply cannot forget a person who is that important and special to you. It's just impossible. You can't do it. You shouldn't do it. And again, she'd be a sociopath monster if she did, and not to mention the plot holes that would be created if that were the case as well. But she did. She still loved him down to the very end, and she still found a way. And this does not need explanation. Maybe you guys don't have fan fiction about this. That's the time to write till you put your fan fiction skills to use, not A&R. That's Webhead fan fiction right there. That's Twilight right there. But she finds a way to still love Eren. Maybe not love Eren, but still, because again, she loves him a little bit. You have to keep remembering this. She loves him a little bit. Isayama's own mouth. Don't argue with me about it. Dr. Isayama. Isayama said this. She loved him a little, and Eren loved her a lot. Okay, but so she presumably loved, I'm gonna call him John a lot, because she loved Eren a little bit, and she was able to release Eren from that, that soul place in her heart that she originally had him in. But you may ask, well, why does she still have the scarf? To me, this was an absolute non-issue. I don't know why people, blew this out of proportions. I expect, my child to ask me this sort of question, like a child, or someone of, not much experience or whatever. But alas, I have to talk to presumably grown adults about why she still has the scarf and why it's not lit on fire, stomped on, and then cast into the Atlantic Ocean. The reason is because, number one, first and foremost, it's sentimental. That's just the first thing. She's had this since she was a little kid, and she did like the guy. She's lots of history with the guy who gave her the scarf, and she was given the scarf at a rough period in her life, and that scarf has been with her, through all of rough periods in her life, and she wore that scarf when she did the roughest period, which was through the roughest period in her life, roughest time in her life, which would be killing Eren. So this scarf has a lot of, sentimental value. Another thing, the meaning it has, her maxim, the word that she lives by, right? If we were just sum up Mikasa in one phrase, one maxim, what would it be? Well, you know what it is. The world is cruel, but also beautiful. And this scarf is the symbol of that. It seems like a lot of fans actually understand this, because some alternate fan endings have it ending with "it's cold," which is of course a callback to the first time that we see Mikasa. Not the first time with Mikasa's backstory, but what they're not realizing is that the ending already has a callback to Mikasa's backstory. But we don't need to talk about that right now. So she gets the scarf in that time where she's realizing just how bad the world is. She didn't realize that she was ignorant to it before, but now she's fully aware of it after what had just happened. Her entire family got killed, and then, for very, very dubious purposes, I might add, and in very devious ways as well. And then she was suddenly awakened that the world is cruel. But then Eren comes along with the scarf and gives it to her and wraps her because it's cold. The world is cold to her. It's cold and cruel to her. And it's also, actually cold outside. Because they're on a mountain. If you're asking why is it cold in Madagascar, please stop nitpicking. They're on a mountain, for goodness sakes. So, then she gets the scarf from Eren. And that is when she fully realizes that yes, the world can be cruel, but it can also be very, very beautiful. And she gets the scarf from him. Now, that's I'm counting that as number 2. Number 3 is pretty much the same thing. Not only does that scarf mean that to her, the scarf is also a way to keep moving forward. Because when she first lost her family and wrapped that scarf around her, then when it happened again, when this incredibly traumatic, awful thing happened again, somehow, and the person who gave her that scarf was dead by her own hands, she couldn't do it anymore. She was left to be this pile of mush and sadness. And as you can see, very purposefully by Isayama's part, she's not married. She's sulking. She's sitting on the tree. She's the only person who went back to Paradise. She left Armin and everyone else, and she went back to Paradise, and she's just sitting on her ass whining about, Eren being killed. But Eren finally, I don't know how, I'm not gonna go into how or why or when or where, but somehow, some way, and I do believe this is Eren for multiple reasons, this being one of them, he comes in, swooping in, and he wraps that scarf around her again to remind her, hey, yes, I'm dead, which is cruel. But I guess that is cruel, right? It's cool that he had to die, or it's cool that he died. Yes, that's cruel, but remember, it's also beautiful, and you know what, Mikasa, you don't have to forget me. That was very foolish of me, actually, because you loved me for the longest time, and I've been with you since your early childhood. So he wraps it around her, and all that, yes, all what I just said gets communicated. That one scarf wrap, which is why I say he's a master. I mean, I didn't know this. I didn't know he was good at writing relationships and interpersonal dialogue. I had no idea he was good at that. I always thought there's no place for romance in Attack on Titan. How dare anyone insinuate that? How dare Eren make us the shippers try to make us about romance? That's stupid. But somehow, some way, Isayama surprises us yet again, and he creates not only a mystery masterpiece, a drama masterpiece, a classical masterpiece, but he also creates somehow a romance masterpiece. How he does all those things, bro, don't ask me. I don't have no idea. But he does. And all of it's communicated in that one bird, whatever. Which is why I think that was the, makeshift ending, because it was a good place to leave things off for the publishers. Because it did end, it ended Eren's arc, because Eren's arc ended posthumously. Another really cool thing about Eren and the story in general is this arc ended posthumously. I mean, come on, what character does that, right? Name me one. Not that they would ruin anything, but just it'll probably take you a long time to name you one, and it'll probably be some really obscure thing. But that is just really, really cool. We just really need to take the time to appreciate that his arc was finished posthumously while simultaneously finishing Mikasa's arc as he's already dead. Which is, again, that's one of the reasons why I believe that bird was actually him. So the bird wraps the scarf around her for the last time, and she's like, yes, it's cruel, but I can also find beauty in it, and I can also find someone I love. And so, presumably she marries Jean. Now, I don't know if this is Jean. It looks like Jean. It probably is Jean. I want it to be Jean, and just for the simple reason that, it's been foreshadowed since, the very first arcs. So, it'd be cool that it'd be foreshadowed for that long. And, it could also prove that, hey, this was planned since the beginning. He didn't change the ending. But it doesn't matter who she married. She married somebody, and she married, and she had a kid. Now, there's a time for joking, there's a time for serious conversation. And people make jokes about, oh, she's, thinking about Eren when she's doing certain stuff, and she's not fully loyal to Jean, and Jean is like begrudgingly going to the grave and all that stuff, and the kids are getting involved and they're poking fun at. There's a time for jokes, and there's really time to have a serious conversation. Now, I don't know what you guys seriously think about that whole interaction, but let me tell you, without any memes or jokes, whatever, how I think this actually went down. And this is another reason why I think Jean is perfect, because Jean also, I think Jean loved Eren in a way, not romantically. I do think there was 100%. Brotherly love going on there, and obviously the feeling was mutual, since how he took the time out of his day to have a one-on-one conversation with him, and we can see that in 139. So that would mean he would understand Mikasa more than some random person. But I think that he understands her perfectly, and he's secure in his own manhood and his own relationship. He knows, I know that she's going to go visit his grave, but I'm still number one, right? I know men who, lost their mothers, lost their second mothers, you could say, because they were close to other women in their childhood, and, they're still sentimental about them, they still care about them, they still, visit their graves, so to speak, figuratively and maybe literally, right? They still think about them, it occupies their mind a lot, but that doesn't bother their wives, because their wives know I'm number one. I'm numero uno. He cares about me the most. I'm the person they loves the most. And so, these mature women are completely fine with that. And any mature woman or man would be completely fine with that, right? So I think, and again, especially if it was John, because I think John did love Eren, as I just said, that he's perfectly fine with this. He understands, I'm numero uno, but she spent a lot of time with this guy, and this guy was really special to her, and this guy taught her a lot of things, and so it's completely fine. And as for the children, I've mentioned this before, the children, if the husband was somehow a pushover and somehow was a cuck, so to speak, the children would not be very happy about the treatment of their father, or this at all. And it seems how that she has grandkids that are around Mikasa and take care of Mikasa. I have a hard time believing that these kids despised Mikasa or anything of that nature. I think that she was a good woman. She had a good relationship with her husband. And of course there was fights, just like any relationship has fights, obviously. And yeah, maybe some of them had to do with Eren, but nothing out of the ordinary. They stuck together, they went through it. She had kids, she raised the kids pretty well, because again, they're with her later in life. That is not entirely guaranteed for kids to be with you later in life. Kids later in life, she gets grandchildren that are around her, and they're all happy in there. They're all taking them to, taking, flowers to his grave, and then she dies a long happy life with a scarf and a wedding ring, as I always love to point out. Maybe not literally a wedding ring, but you know what I mean. So that is again very, very beautiful stuff, very complex stuff, and all stuff that's communicated in panels, no dialogue bubbles, no nothing, just a few panels. And I think the last 6 panels should be completely unchanged. That's just my opinion. I mean, yes, we probably could get the Jean confirmation and maybe some dialogue here and there. Maybe it would be longer or extended. But as far as I'm concerned, the last 6 panels do not need to be changed or altered in any way. And if they just animated the last 6, if literally they just put the last 6 panels out for the last part of the anime with literally nothing else, I'd be completely fine with that. I'd be totally happy. I mean, they probably are gonna make it better. I mean, the director. That director is, he's top notch. He knows what he's doing. Unfortunately, that composer died, but he still left us a lot of great works. But what I'm trying to say is that was perfect. There's no reason to harp on that. There's lots of, reasons to be angry 139. Lots of valid reasons. The last 6 pages, especially the whole Mikasa stuff, was definitely not one of them. That was an incredible display of understanding of interpersonal relationships, of relationships, period, and also gave us again the very rare posthumous character arc. So that is how and why Mikasa got over Eren. So I hope you liked the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe as always. I'm a YouTuber. I have to give the YouTuber whatever. And if you can, comment down below what you want my catchphrase to be when I leave. The different channels have their little catchphrases when they leave. I don't have one. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.